Welcome to the D&D Fitness Radio podcast, brought to you by your hosts, Don Saladino from New York City and Derek Hansen from Vancouver, Canada. In episode 40, we speak with Dr. Gabrielle Lyon about health, fitness, nutrition, and how it relates to pregnancy.
Having good friend Dr. Gabrielle Lyon on. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Dr. G is 3 months pregnant. Dr. Gabrielle is the only person that we've had on twice on our podcast. So you're the first person that we've had on 2 times. The first time to talk about hormones.
Yeah.
And now I want to really talk about your experience the last 3 months being pregnant. Well, you're one of the most regimented human beings I've ever met when it comes to diet. There's not too many people, I think, who do what you do.
Yeah.
And the other day you sent me a picture of you eating a pretzel, and I felt very comforted about it, because it was like, I feel like as a woman who's pregnant, you need to, listen to your body, listen to what you can handle. And wait a second, repeat that one more
Okay.
time.
So, okay.
Derek, are you hearing this?
Yep.
Okay.
Good. Sorry.
High protein foods, meat-based foods tend to carry a lot of pathogens, bacteria and things that would get the fetus sick.
Mm-hmm.
So the body develops an aversion to it.
Wow. Even if you're eating grass-fed beef.
Yes, that's all I eat. Yes.
That's all you eat. So
not anymore.
What do you think this is going to do? I don't mean to jump right. Derek, I want you to jump in right now whenever you want, but what do you think this is going to do to your thought process when you are not pregnant, when you deliver and you have a healthy baby, and then you're getting back in your regimen? Did you already learn things about your body?
Oh my gosh.
So what are some of the big I should be asking this at the end, but I'm just more curious.
Well, it was so interesting, because when I've seen pregnant women in the past and they're eating all these carbs, I'm thinking to myself, they're just doing it because they're craving or any of these other things, and none of that was true. So it allowed me for certain to be a better physician. Initially, you're really tired. You can't actually keep a rigorous travel schedule, which I do, and your training suffers. So in the beginning, and every woman is different, I like to train with weights. I like to use kettlebells, and every time my heart rate would go up, I get really nauseous.
Right.
So I've had to actually change my whole capacity of training and eating. I would say 180.
Looking at that, actually.
And it's really hard. There's a lot of other things that happen that, it seems like massive design flaws, right? Here,
But it really takes you to go through this to truly understand. And I even tell people, it's funny when I'm talking to, young guys who are, getting their business started and they're in fitness, it's like there's 2 different conversations. I'm talking to the guy who has kids, and I'm talking to the guy who doesn't have kids. It's just, you're just different. Like, to be able to train the way that I work out and the way that I train, is the only reason why is because I have a supportive wife. Because she knows
always say that. No,
because I'm at Disney and I'm with the kids. If I got to get a workout, I get a workout. Yep. It's not like it's just, it's the way that I tick.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone is the way that you are, and you have to go through this to experience what you're experiencing, and it's going to make you a better physician.
Absolutely. And everything that from my experience, I am, as Don is saying, very rigid and structured in my lifestyle. That completely changed.
But your body looks great. And I can say that like, he
is one of my dearest friends.
Hold on. But I can say this respectfully. Like, you walked in, you look amazing. Your body looks great. Your face doesn't look any different. I see there might be a little something going on down there. It's okay. I'm glad to do this. Her boyfriend is the SEAL, and he will shoot me dead. Fiance, Jesus.
He would kill you.
He would kill me.
No,
he should be dead. But I accept that, and I'm totally cool with it. Totally fine. Yeah. But Derek, did you freeze up?
I'm here. I'm just staying really still.
Why?
Move. It's freaking me out. I'm not seeing you move, and I'm like, oh my God, are we freezing right now?
I'm just totally. You see me okay now?
I hear you perfectly. So, looking at what my wife went through, it was a little bit different than her, because my wife, I would catch her eating Junior Whoppers off the elevator.
In the beginning, though, you're nauseous. First of all, I learned this. They call it morning sickness. It's not morning sickness. It's actually all day sickness. And then like clockwork, the nausea wakes me up at 1 a.m. and then at 5 a.m. And then I'm nauseous.
So what are you craving?
I'm not craving. I can only eat toast, potato, rice.
So it's all carbs. It's all
All
starch.
carbs. And do you know that gestational diabetes is a real thing?
No.
That is, the body becomes more insulin resistant because it feeds the fetus. So what does that mean in like layman's terms? It means that the baby, the fetus requires glucose. So your body, it requires carbs. So your body becomes this kind of hormonal balance so that you are having a ton of glucose in your bloodstream.
What is it? What's the advice to because I get, Derek, and I don't know if you've ever received this, but I get some ridiculous questions asked me. I get women, mothers online, DMing me, I'm pregnant. I'm like, congratulations. They're like, well, should I be restricting calories? Should I be, I'm like, what are you talking about? How do you even ask this? Like, it's ridiculous. So you just have to, like, you can't, as much as someone, and this is why I think it's comforting, and this is the takeaway I want to come from today. We're looking at a woman who's one of the most dedicated and regimented human beings I've met when it comes to dieting. I mean, you literally eat healthier than a female bodybuilder. I'm not saying much female bodybuilders aren't healthy, but what I'm trying to say is that type of, what I mean is it's that type of focus. And right now, things are a little awry for you.
And it wasn't easy. So you bring up the transition.
Yeah.
In the beginning, when I got pregnant, I put on weight like that. I mean, it was a ton of water weight. I thought I was getting my period. I didn't even know what was happening, and I felt terrible. And it was like my body changed overnight. And there is no adjustment period, right? So it wasn't this slow, gradual change. It was like all of a sudden, no definition. You have water everywhere, and you can't eat any of the foods that you normally eat.
Right, and I think psychologically, no, it's funny when you get hurt or you get sick, suddenly you stop almost caring about everything it is you're following. Right. Like I know, like I remember 5 years ago, I broke both my hands and my rib. I broke my wrists, I broke my knees, and what else did I break? I broke something else. And I was like so regimented about it. I remember when I broke it, I knew I broke it. And I was like, I just sat there. I remember the first thing I thought was, oh my God, I can't squat on Monday. And then after that, I just didn't even care. And like, it goes right out the window. So you go, it's like,
you're adaptable. So.
Yeah, you just adapt, and you're like, all right, but like with you, that's what I want to, I want to get into some of the science, but I also want a big takeaway for these women is you're going to gain weight.
You are.
It's okay. All right. You're going to want pizza or ice cream, or some people crave the weirdest shit, and it's okay. It's not like our bodies are going to bounce back. And how do I know this? Because I've worked with enough pregnant women to understand that your body gets, torched over a 9-month period of time. It's a beautiful thing, and God bless you for going through it, but you will make it back. You will fight back. And maybe
but I will say there's a lot of individual variability, because my wife was a runner. She was competing up until her first child. And then she had the same figure with just a bump in her stomach. And then when she had the baby, she was back to normal. And then that was 3 kids we had like that.
What was she competing in?
Like middle distance running.
She was doing that when she was pregnant?
Well, pretty much right up until, we decided to have a child, right? So, and maybe it's just her own sort of body composition and her metabolism, whatever. But I just found it very interesting that she didn't really put on much weight. And then when she had the child, I mean, the weight was gone. Like it was bizarre. So there are people that are like that. And then all her deliveries were like 30-minute labors, right?
So that is super unusual. And your wife was really, really lucky.
No, I know. So when people hear about it, they're like, they give us a finger and then say like, screw you. Yeah. But yeah, like we're very lucky. And, I don't know what, maybe it was the training, maybe there's some hereditary factors there, but it was interesting.
No, I think a lot has to do with the training. I've seen, there was a woman that was a member here several years ago that literally worked out up until the day she delivered, and she was a doctor and she was back in training within a week.
That's crazy.
And
That's amazing.
it was crazy, but I'm like, how do you feel? She's like, oh, well, I know the pace I gotta go at, and I'm a doctor, and I know what I can handle. I know what, a lot of times this 1 month is just, I think it's precautionary measures, and I'm not telling women after they deliver to get please let's be very clear about that, because a lot of things that I don't know, like we all, like there's unpleasant things like tearing and specific things that
Not
we do.
gonna happen.
Right, but this stuff happens. It's out of our control, and it's all good. But
and I think that actually you bring up a really good point. The whole pregnancy is out of your control. You don't know the genetics. You can't control anything. And I think I had no concept. You worry a lot. I mean, it's really, you have to kind of give yourself to the process. I don't think there's ever been anything in my life where I've had that experience, where there's no way I could plan for it. I can't study enough. I can't train enough. This is completely outside.
There's a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah.
There's a lot of uncertainty to this process, and it is it's the most remarkable. And Derek will even say, I mean, I almost laugh at myself because I tell the story all the time. And when the first time my wife delivered Amelia, it was our first child, I remember turning around being like, people should make a bigger deal about this. They don't make a big enough deal about this. I was like so in awe of the whole process. And 1 second I see my wife sitting there with her legs in the air. The next second, like I'm holding my little baby girl, and it was really the most fascinating thing I've ever seen. But a great story that I like to give is Blake Gladwell, one of my clients of 10 years. And she put up a post, I think it was last February or March, with me in it. And she's like, oh my God. I'm very excited to announce I've lost 63 pounds. It only took me 14 months. 14 months. And people were so, I think, excited to hear that, because it was something that was very real. And the thing I love about Blake is she was very honest that she struggled with it. And coming back, she's not a gym rat, and she likes exercise, but it doesn't take over her life. And, you know, she loves delicious foods, as she says. And we make a joke about it. Like the first time I met her, she's like, listen, I love delicious foods. Don't you try and take that away from me. And I just started laughing. I was like,
delicious food, ground beef.
So listen.
Well, it's interesting. Like Dr. Gabrielle said, you know, it's kind of out of your control. Just like labor, when labor happens, and I'm watching it, I'm like, oh God, like we can't do anything. It's just happening. But did you see that case? Now, it's not a very positive case, but the case where the woman was basically in a coma or something, and she's in a care facility, and one of the male nurses had impregnated her, and she had a baby. She carried it to term, and the baby is healthy.
Oh,
right?
Repeat that. Wait. I don't.
Are you sure that's real?
Hold on.
Yes.
The story here. He impregnated her.
Yeah, they found out who it was through DNA testing after the fact, and they found it.
Was she? This is something I just saw a movie like this. No, I'm really freaked out. Was she unconscious?
Yeah. Yes.
What was this movie? I saw some sick movie.
Nobody watches that movie.
No, it was like with Steven Seagal or something, where this sick son of a bitch was walking around a room like sleeping with women. Oh no, it was Kill Bill.
Yeah.
Kill Bill.
Yeah. So this actually happened, and so the family's like, how did she get pregnant? And now the family is caring for the child, but they had to find out who did it, and it was a guy that worked there as a male caretaker and caregiver.
What the hell happened to this guy? He's in prison now.
Oh yeah, he's gonna get somebody's gonna kill him.
Vancouver, where you're from? Because I didn't.
I was in Arizona. I think it was in Arizona. Yeah. So that's a perfect example of, like, I mean, I don't know she's eating through a tube, I guess, and still had what they said was a relatively healthy baby.
That's crazy.
So, yeah.
I'm curious now to see the trajectory of this baby's health.
Sure.
And almost like, are there any, you know, who knows, does it become healthier? Like, I don't know, because everything going to the human being's body was controlled. I have no idea. I'm just saying this. Jesus. Wow.
Yeah.
Way depressing, Derek. Thanks. You were just talking about Dr. G, and you're bringing us Kill Bill stories.
I mean, I think that there is no control, and it's really interesting, you know, when you're able to work for everything in your life and have some kind of input. You know, in order to be a good doctor, in order to be a good trainer, in order to be a good speaker, you put in effort.
Sure.
You have no control over this process.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing sure.
Zero.
Well, I mean, Yeah, I guess you're.
I mean, you cannot eat.
I'm trying to.
I know there's Honey Boo Boo. She came out okay.
Honey Boo Boo.
You don't know who Honey Boo Boo is?
No.
I mean, so there are people that eat,
What happened? Are you still there?
Yeah, I just sent you a link to the story just because it's a pretty profound story. So
Can you see me?
I can see you, yes.
Well, I can't see you.
Where's Honey Boo Boo? You don't know who Honey Boo Boo is?
I don't know who Honey Boo Boo is.
It's okay, Don. You don't need to know.
But that is an example of our meeting is empty.
Derek, he's still filming. Don't worry. Are you there?
Yeah, everything working. Are you just looking at the story?
I was, and now I'm back to.
It's
Just go back to Zoom at the bottom bar there. Just click on the Zoom, the little camera thing, and it should come back up.
Can you hit one of those tabs up there?
Hold on, but we're gonna have to cut this part out. Give me 1 second. Watch. Zoom.
Editing.
I only have 45 minutes of energy.
So it's 45 minutes of energy.
And I'm gonna take a nap. Oh my God.
There we go. All right, I'm. Whoa! What just happened? Are you still there?
I'm still here. Yeah.
What is going on? Good. That's better. Sorry.
Okay. Did you see the story at least?
Pregnancy. Yes, I did.
So why don't we talk about pregnancy fatigue and pregnancy brain?
Yeah, I'm like, what's pregnancy brain?
You don't remember anything. Like anything. You never heard of pregnancy brain?
No, how are you?
Are you serious?
No, never.
No, this is a real thing. All women go through this.
Look that up right now. I think she's bullshit. This is bullshit.
No way.
Pregnancy brain.
You start forgetting. I don't remember my wife forgetting anything.
You forget things that you wouldn't believe that you forget, like your zip code.
Are you forgetting things right now, Derek? Just in general. I know this has nothing to do with the topic, but have you been forgetting? Have you been starting to get a little forgetful?
Based on my age? Yeah. I can't remember, like, I'll be like, hey, you know that actor? And I'm like, like I couldn't remember Emily Blunt. Somebody was talking to me about this, and I'm like, yeah, it's anyways, I couldn't remember her name.
She wants to give me a powder to fix that or some shit. Like,
so time. I did my fellowship. I did one of my fellowships in geriatrics, where I specialized in memory.
It's impressive. It is. It's impressive.
A lot of school loans.
A lot of school. All right. So
anyway,
let's talk about pregnancy brain.
So it's a real thing. You forget things that are very common, like zip codes and phone numbers. And quite possibly.
Why is that?
I don't know. They believe that. I don't know exactly whether it's increasing.
It's the other name for it is momnesia.
Momnesia. Could the increase in progesterone force you to lose your memory?
I don't know for sure, but I can tell you that the progesterone makes you really tired. So there's an increase in progesterone that happens, and it really converts to GABA in the brain and makes you tired. What was the other
thing that you mentioned besides pregnancy brain? You mentioned something else.
The fatigue.
Yeah, that was
massive fatigue. And I will tell you this: I typically am not super. I'm very emotionally stable, and you find that there's a huge surges of increase in estrogen, and I'm a lot more short fused than ever. And I'm not like that.
Do you snap at shame?
Yeah.
About what?
Anything.
Smelling?
No, it totally. No.
He's gonna kill me. What?
No, he loves you. Anytime after 8:01, I'm like a maniac. Don't talk to me after 8 o'clock.
Do you have the same, well, you don't have, your energy's different. Do you feel like your attention span when it comes to, because I know you like to read, you like to study.
Oh my God, yes, I can't do it anymore. So my goal now is 2 papers a week, whereas I was reading 2 or 3 a night.
How long did it take you to read a paper?
Now?
No, then.
20 minutes to 45 minutes. Depending on the paper.
I get exhausted. I mean, I like to read, but I just get tired. Reading's like the one thing that makes me tired.
I was trying to read about myogenesis.
What's that?
Increasing muscle, the formation of muscle. I couldn't do it. It was like, I couldn't do that. I mean, it would put a lot of people to sleep, but I couldn't do it. But this is I guess the bottom line is, these are foundational things that I do. So I read a lot, I train a lot, I like to eat meat. Can't do
And
any
now
of those
everything's
things.
affected.
Everything.
So you're not craving. I saw you eating a pretzel the other day. You haven't had like an ice cream, or
No.
you haven't had anything. You haven't had anything out of the ordinary.
Yes,
Pizza.
everything that I eat.
How's your body been doing? So how's your body been doing with the wheat and gluten?
Terrible. I feel inflamed. I tried gluten-free. It makes me feel terrible. It makes me nauseous. It's all almond, tapioca flour, all this stuff that makes me feel sick. In fact, I have 3 pieces of toast in my purse right now.
Do you have anything like with it? Do you have like peanut butter and jelly or something? You're not craving any of that?
No, I'm not. I'm so tired. I'm not even that high tech.
You're like a supervillain that thrives on gluten. That could be like
you
a
don't
whole.
understand. I had, I don't know,
Years.
I was really strict. I was not even messing around.
Have you ever had when's the last time you had an alcoholic beverage?
I can't even tell you a decade.
A decade?
I don't know. Yeah.
It's impressive.
I was in a Chinese like specialty food market, and they actually had bags of gluten balls. Like you could probably put those into a Nerf gun and fire them at people and like create a lot of havoc.
It's disgusting. I just can't there's certain things I can't even look at.
You know what? I am great. There's some there. You want to know my go-to? I can tell you in the beginning what it was. Pickled eggs. I was really into those.
Ooh.
Wait, now, so that was the beginning. So right before, right when
I got the Dumb and Dumber. What was it Dumb and Dumber? Where do we go?
Anyway, the yolk is really good for their brain. It has a lot of choline in it. Yeah. So I was really into the pickled eggs. And then what happened after that? It's been a lot of, what was after that? See, I can't even remember.
That's what did you call it again? Brain amnesia? Brain amnesia?
Pregnancy brain. It's a real thing.
Was it brain fog? What'd you call it again?
Momnesia.
Pregnancy brain fog.
Oh, and by the way, here's another thing. Okay, so let's talk about the food part. So you can't eat a lot, but you're really hungry. And every time you eat a lot, then you get really nauseous. I've been eating a lot of omelets I just added Swiss cheese. This is a new thing. I haven't eaten dairy in a decade.
It's funny. You know, actually, really, really funny story. So, because we would always tell my kids that, whoa, you just said it again? I love it. He said the Dumb and Dumber skit. Look at that.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's it. Derek, that was quick. How'd you do that?
Just share a screen. I found it.
You control the screen. I didn't even have to control that. But my wife turned to my kids and said how many Junior Whoppers. She was like, oh, when I was pregnant with you, I ate Junior Whoppers at a really, really young age. And then later on, as they got older, they were serious. They're like, Mommy, I think I saw a Junior Whopper when I was in your belly. Like you were trying to say, it was just cute. It's one of those cute kids are so innocent. It's amazing. But how do you feel about being a mom?
I can't wait.
Are you nervous?
No.
Good.
No.
It really is. I mean, Derek, admit it. How old's your oldest?
14. I got 14, 12, and 6.
That's it.
14, 12, 6. But you remember the first time my wife that I saw my daughter and we passed the baby off to her, my wife immediately breastfed the baby. She just like, I was shocked. It was like she pulled out her boob. Actually, I pulled out. I was hanging out anyway, and like it was literally ready to these gluten balls. As I'm trying to have a conversation, he's sending me pictures of gluten balls as I'm talking about my wife's breast, as my daughter's breastfeeding off of it. Derek, you're such a child. I love you so much. But it really is the most fascinating thing. It's just something where it's almost like there's this chip in your head. Like there's this area of your brain right now you don't even know exists. Second you see your daughter or your son. I just said daughter, baby.
It's going to be a girl.
It's going to be a girl.
So it's going to be a girl.
I just said, I know it's a girl.
It's a girl.
Well, you don't know yet, though.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so it's real. She's going to see her daughter.
You know, they say that's the Navy SEAL curse.
Daughter, girls?
Having a girl.
She's got a girl.
Mm-hmm.
And, I get excited for it. And there's going to be this chip in your brain that just immediately kind of gets engaged, and you're going to know exactly what to do. Like changing a diaper, it's going to be like you did it in like some afterlife. Like everything that you are worried about, you're going to immediately know how to do. It's unbelievable. So are you already laying out I can see you laying out your diet and your workout plan for
Oh, totally. I've already got it planned out.
Unbelievable.
It's going to be kettlebells.
Kettlebells. So when did you get into kettlebells so much? Because I've always been into them, but I don't remember you being into them as much.
Because of my injuries, was what I've been using in rehab.
It really is an incredible tool. It really is. Momnesia.
It's a real thing.
Momnesia.
It's a real thing.
It's funny, but Derek, have you done much training with bells?
I have not.
See, Derek's a world-class sprint coach.
Really?
So Derek's one of the, like, I would consider Derek one of the.
My first experience was when I was like training in track and field. Like they had those things, and the guys who threw discus and hammer and all, they would chuck those things, right? Like they would throw them, but which is obviously dangerous, and they would wreck a field. But that's the first, like they would actually spin them around and chuck them, right? And you had to be careful where you were walking. But yeah, that was my first experience. Maybe.
Can we talk about running and being pregnant?
Yep.
So I have pretty big boobs, and let me just tell you, yes,
hadn't noticed.
They're huge. I can't tell you. It's impossible. It's
Just
impossible.
I'm right here. Right here.
I don't look.
So now,
I don't look.
but they get really sore. All women should experience this. Nobody ever talks about this.
Big boobs.
Oh my God!
How much bigger did your boobs get?
At least 2 sizes, and they were already. Can I say?
No, you can't show us. This, come on.
No. Anyway, they were.
Your boyfriend's a trained killer. Show us?
No,
Shane, I said no. I said no, please.
Yeah, there's like a laser sight hitting me in the face right now.
Shane, I would never disrespect you like that.
That's what he said. He said,
damn you.
He said, why are there red lasers on his forehead? Anyway, this is what Shane says. So anyway, they were big to start, and then when you get pregnant, they become really sore. You cannot train in any way that is ballistic at all. My experience. They hurt so bad.
Infatuated because they're bigger right now?
Yes.
I was. Like when my wife put on
Yes.
how much weight, her ass got huge,
Yes.
which I loved. And her breasts got enormous,
Yes.
which was fun. It was, it was just like this.
We should have Shane on it. He should talk about it because he said this is the mother's nature's most cruel joke.
Why is it cruel?
He said because your boobs are big, but you can't touch them because it hurts so bad.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and it's also and I get it. Most women, I think every guy I talk to who's has had a kid, they find it the sexiest thing, but you're not feeling your sexiest at the time.
Everything hurts. Everything hurts.
Well, get it together. Come on.
I am not still
here.
Look at I'm still
I'm gonna have a
training.
petition going on outside of moms literally wanting to shoot me.
I'm still training. I'm not training nearly as intensely, but I am training 4 to 5 days a week.
You've definitely calmed down about that though since I met you. I mean, it was all about
You're right.
with you the program and you had to get this. And early on, it was like, I love you, but it was almost like I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. Like that's not how the body works. Like, you can have a plan, you can have a template, but part of the plan and template is at certain times you got to deviate off of that.
Right.
But you're very type A. I tried to go jogging once, but my boobs knocked me. I'm not repeating that word. The F out. Yeah. That's really fun. Derek, how are you so quick with this stuff? This is unbelievable.
I had a lot of coffee this morning. So
that's another thing. I used to love coffee, and I love pure green. I can't drink coffee.
I've been drinking pure green coffee.
I'm proud of you. That's why you're so lean and shredded.
Yeah, I feel great.
It has chlorogenic acid in it. Coffee, and I call the cans are free.
They are
So what is the ruling on coffee? Is it good? Like, does it create cancer? Like, there's all of this information out there.
Good, but
it's good.
You're not supposed to have over 200 to 300 milligrams, but the taste for it changes. I know, but you don't even want to have it.
But the pure green coffees, the thing I like about the pure green coffee, and I'm not sponsored by this company or anything, but it's definitely, but I mean, it's higher in polyphenols. It's not roasted. It doesn't taste like coffee. It tastes exactly like tea. And when I dove into the science a little bit, it made sense. They were like, no, dark roast is worse than light roast. I'm like, why? They're like, well, technically the coffee gets denatured the more you roast it, right?
But it also has all this weird crap in it. But the sun-up coffee doesn't. And
what about the acidity levels? Got to be a lot higher.
But I don't care about that. The body buffers it.
Okay.
Like,
but the acidity levels got to be less in pure green coffee, I would think.
Oh yes, I think so. I mean that I don't know, but pure green coffee is amazing because the energy, there's no spike and crash.
So Derek, coffee. You drink coffee?
I drink coffee, and but just like one in the morning, and that's it. Like I'm not addicted to it, or maybe I am, but
How about cocaine? Are you good with that, or is it still a problem?
no, just icing sugar.
We talk about it later on. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. To pick that up.
So can I tell you the average number of coffee? the military guys that I treat, do you want to know the average number of coffee that they take in a day? I know this isn't about pregnancy. 10 cups.
That's crazy.
10 cups.
That's
Wow.
It's when I drink black coffee. Sometimes I feel like my performance actually drops.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it actually helps.
I think it
a lot of these,
overstimulates people.
yeah, I think it does, and it gets very stressful for me when I watch people going and they're buying a lot of these crappy pre-workouts.
And you can't do that when you're pregnant.
No.
Can't take anything except a prenatal, some good omegas.
Someone was asking me about a sauna the other day, and I'm like, no,
Can't do that when
no,
you're
I never
pregnant.
do that. I said I thought it was ridiculous. They asked me about cryo. I'm like, I thought that was ridiculous. I'm like, just don't mess with it. Like I'm not here to push the buttons. I've gotten pre and postnatal certifications. I am not here to push the buttons when it comes to the human body. You do not know how someone's going to respond. Someone's asking me, should I take a sauna when you're pregnant? I'm like, relax for the next 9 months. It's going to be okay.
It is really hard for the people that love to train because your body changes.
You can train.
Yeah, but your body changes. You're not training the way.
Yeah. What's your take on just the laxity issue with like ligaments, the relaxin issue?
Yes.
Is that something you're careful with?
Yes. My lifts are all really slow, and I'm very aware of form now. Well,
Good. Jesus.
I was
Good.
before, but I mean, yeah, your joints, your knees, your ankles.
Inflamed. It's more from the pretzels that she's pounding.
I'm not pounding them.
She was eating. You should see the look on your face when you have a pretzel.
I said this to you.
She was like, I thought you were drunk.
I was so
I'm
hungry.
like, what is going on with this one?
All of a sudden, you're fine, and then you're hungry, and you have to eat, and you don't care. Everything else has to stop.
Is there any food that you can mention that you'd almost get like nauseated over?
Beef.
Hot dogs. Or something like a hot dog.
I throw up.
You ever eat a hot dog?
No. Those are carcinogenic, largely.
I will say there was a difference after my wife had the kids, and then the running. She would have more IT band tightness around the knee because I think her hips changed.
Yeah.
So we had to get her back into like some squatting and strength training, and that helped.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was the one thing that we noticed. It did change probably the angle of her hip joint and her femur. So
how is she now? I mean, it's 5 years later since your last one. What'd you say?
It's, yeah, about 6 years. So I would say we're just careful with mileage and volume. And she has to do, even if she does like body weight squatting, it seems like squatting seems to help. Basically, I guess just basically stabilize the hip joint. So
how does she what type of squatting does she do? Do you just have her goblet? Do you have her front? Do you have her back? What do you have her do exactly?
Yeah, mostly some sort of load in front, right? That's just easier for her. Use a dumbbell or something like that. Yeah, nothing, not heavy back squatting or anything like that. So.
And I'm doing the same thing, goblet squats. I have to correct that. It's not the hot dogs that cause cancer. It's the nitrates that are carcinogenic. So I wanted to correct that.
So if you have a nitrate-free hot dog, that's acceptable?
I would throw up. And smells. They should make all perfume illegal. And New York cabs.
Am I smelling right now? I just.
No, you don't.
There's lots of smells in New York. Yeah.
No, you're fine.
I normally don't. I never smell. I don't think I ever smell.
You don't. No, it's like strong. It's no.
We have a hot dog party.
That's hot. That's disgusting.
I just want to see. I just that pretzel made me so happy. It was unbelievable. Just you have no idea.
I mean, you just have to. At some point, you have to just eat what you eat.
I gotta be honest. I'm probably a little more lenient than you in the sense of, like, I'm always like, I feel like I don't like calling it dieting because I'm always eating a certain way. But you know, if like Super Bowl Sundays is Sunday and we're hanging out at home and I want to eat something, I just eat it.
But your training volume supports that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Your training volume supports that. Nobody else can do that, including Shane.
But if I overstep, then I feel like hormonally it throws me off, and that bothers me. I'm not worried about my body. I'm more worried about waking up the next day without optimal energy. That's what bothers me the most.
What bothers you? Which part? What do you do that you really feel it?
Oh, if I decided, like, I'm just saying, if I decided to go junk out for a full day, which I don't do, I would wake up one day and I'd be like, I wouldn't feel rested. I feel like crap. And then my training gets affected. My mood gets affected. It takes me a couple of days to get it back. And I'm all pissed off at myself. That's just me. I'm trying to tell people, I'm trying to be realistic. I mean, I'm really, with most people I work with, I tell them more 80-20.
See, I was never like that.
I tell them more 80-20. No, because you're looking for optimization, but I'm trying to speak to the general pop, and I'm trying to talk to them, and I'm trying to say, listen, you drank last week 7 nights. Can we get you to 1? And they say, yeah, well, can I at least have that 1? And I'm saying, yes. Yeah. And then we're getting them on that 1. And then immediately, and then this is very common, there's an improvement.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it's like, all right, well, I've been feeling really good. Maybe I should eliminate 1. Maybe it should be 2 weeks. And then we get that process started. So I kind of take my time with them a little bit more because I'm not trying to discourage them. And 3 weeks later, be like, I can't freaking work with this person. This is crazy. I'm giving up everything in life that I love. I'm always kind of taking what someone's, unless they have to get ready for a movie role. Right. And unless they're like, oh, we have a deadline here. And when they have a deadline, I'm like, no. You have no life. This is 4 weeks. Right. And you're doing exactly what you're doing.
Yeah. We have one patient in particular who is actually public about us.
Oh, yeah.
About us taking care of him.
Yeah. And he's sometimes he's a challenge.
I am on his case all the time. I'm going to send him this.
You should. He's sometimes a challenge. He also needs to realize.
Philly cheesesteaks and fish sticks.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to do it once in a while, but I always tell someone, you got to look at your training age. When your training age is a year, I've been doing this for 20.
I know.
When I was I'm going to bring it up again. It's going to make you sick. When I was on the cover of Muscle and Fitness, that was not me prepping for 4 weeks last year. It was me prepping for 20 years. Yeah. And then when I got the call, I'm like, all right, well, no cheats for 4 weeks and not a sip of alcohol, which I don't do a lot anyway. And, we're just going to dial in my macros a little bit. And did I get into a deficit? You could have, technically from 500 carbs to 300 carbs is a deficit. I still did 300 carbs.
See, you're very unusual.
Yeah, I am, but I'm not. I should be the norm because I train my body to be able to process foods like that. Now we're getting off the pregnancy topic, but I really think that you got to train your body.
You have to train when you're pregnant. By the way,
train when you're pregnant.
You have to lift weights because,
here's an extreme example. So this girl, I worked with her, and she's a 2012 Olympic champion for Olympic weightlifting, and so I was working with her when she got pregnant. So she goes to the doc. She says to me, she's like, I want to keep lifting. I want to get ready for 2016. I'm like, oh, this is outside of my area, right? And so the doctor said, you're only allowed to lift 35 pounds. And I don't even know where that number came from, right? But she ended up like squatting like 100 kilos, pretty deep, maybe like snatching 60 kilos. So like 135 pounds overhead, squatting 220 pounds, no problem. And we just kind of work with the volume, and now she has 3 kids, no problems at all. So that was just kind of an interesting one, to have somebody who's used to squatting 400 pounds, and now we just downgraded it to 220.
I mean, technically it's technique work. I'm saying technical twice. It's technique work. I mean, I look at strength as a skill. I mean, obviously you got to get under some heavy loads, but I don't see the problem with her doing those lifts. I mean, a lot of people would say, oh, well, they're ballistics, and you don't want to get a pregnant woman doing ballistics, which I kind of almost, if someone's very accustomed to doing those, like.
Yeah, it's like less than 40% of her max, right? Yeah.
Right. I get more worried about the first trimester. I mean, I'm probably I'm the most cautious in the first trimester. I'm almost really tiptoeing, and it's like I'm babying you through it. And somebody just came public recently, Chelsea Clinton, a woman that I work with, is having her 3rd child. And I mean, she's almost the perfect person to work with because we come in and we almost talk about it during her warm-up, how's she feeling, what's going on. And she just has complete trust in the process. And we're running her at whatever kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, gear. Yeah. That it's like today, if she feels like, how you feeling? I'm dragging, I'm not feeling great. All right, we're running her in 2nd gear. If she wants to push a little bit more, maybe it's 4th, but it's never, we're not getting her to 5th or 6th. And I would have some people challenge me and say, well, you can go harder than that. I'm just like, well, why? Like, let's just move. Let's just break a sweat. Let's remember what's going on in the recovery process. Let's remember the fact that she is not sleeping the way she's used to sleeping. She's not eating the way she's used to eating. She's not recovering a specific way. And I start putting too much stress and strain on her body, then I'm afraid it could become a domino effect. How's it going to be in the next few days? I'm trying to get her through. Like, it's almost like, Derek, it's like trying to plan out someone's season of training. You're trying to look to peak at specific areas. You've got a 9-month season here. Like you're really, it's like working with a golfer. Like, I'm done trying to have golfers peak at certain tournaments. Like, I'm done with it because there's too many variables. You cannot plan a golf season 9 months in advance, and suddenly a player that I'm working with gets sick in week 4 and, is puking on a plane from Malaysia. And then it's like, all right, well, we just discourage him from the entire plan. I've kind of gotten a little more lenient with the whole process now and just really listen to the body day by day.
And
Go ahead.
So I've known Don for a while now, and I would say that he is able to have a balance, which creates longevity. And most people don't do that, including myself. This pregnancy has definitely taught me how to balance it, and it makes you think way more long-term, which is something you've always been good at.
Right. I mean, Derek, what were you going to say? Thank you.
I really like, even going back to that Olympic lifter, it's about, and we talked about this, Don, it's about creating reserves or margins so that when you're not pregnant, you're training hard and you've created this reserve so that you can dose it down a bit. Or like somebody asked me about when I go on vacation, what do? I said, well, I just make sure that before I go on vacation, I've had a whole slew of good workouts so that I can take it a little easier. And then I jump back into it. But I'm not trying to train as hard when I'm pregnant or when I'm on vacation or when I'm sick. You just got to build up that reserve so that it carries you through, right?
Almost like the body responds better. I mean, I see it a lot with powerlifters who are always trying to, like a lot of these West Side guys, it's max effort. And I understand they're coming in, they're like, well, we choose whether it's 1s, 3s, or 5s. This is an opportunity right now for her to focus on something a little bit different, listen to her body a little bit. Maybe just, maybe it's some light rep work. Maybe it's just something completely different than what she's used to doing. And I feel like the body responds really well to that. Fine. Is she going to be world-class? Am I going to be world-class in the deadlift? No. But, my body's going to feel good. Does that make sense, Derek? Like, you don't talk to
Yeah. She's got muscle memory, and now we're just dealing with the muscle momnesia, whatever.
That's why I'm trying to say this.
You have to maintain your muscle because that is for the health of the baby.
Yeah, but you will. But that's what I'm trying to say. You're just getting in and doing the work, your body. Because guess what? There's been my mom, like, I turned out fine. Her other 3 kids turned out fine. She didn't pick up a weight during her pregnancy. So it's very clear that you're going to be in better shape if you're exercising. Mm-hmm. But there's way more people out there that never exercised during pregnancy than there were people who did. So I think we kind of take something sometimes and we push a little bit too far. Just get in, break a sweat, and do some work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like I mean, Don, you can answer this too. Like, I thought that when we were going to conceive to have a child, like, I was training hard because I thought that there would be like this DNA transfer, right? And even, training during pregnancy, how much of that do you pass on to your offspring? And also, like, if you don't do anything and you gain weight, are your kids more apt to be obese, right? If you're obese during the pregnancy, I don't know.
Oh, I think it's all bullshit. I mean,
I know.
I'm going to tell you why. It's even with training. I've seen some of the most exceptional people who were raised by parents who fed them poorly. Who, when I say exceptional, I mean exceptional sport. Whose parents never groomed them to play baseball or soccer or hockey. The one thing that all these kids had in common, who were the ones who ended up being exceptional, was they did a multitude of things. Mm-hmm. They went and they played, like Boyle just put a great post out today about it. And he was talking about how a lot of these parents will contact him about trying to get their kids into like a sports-specific training regimen. And he's like, it's bullshit. Like, just get them running, jumping, kicking, playing. I was growing up with the worst eating habits ever. Like, I was a 4-sport athlete in high school. I wouldn't eat breakfast, or I'd have like a bowl of like Captain Crunch. I would miss lunch a lot of times. Or I'd run to Baskin Robbins and get a sundae, eat that as lunch. I'd go to swim practice, where I had a 230 lap minimum swim practice. I then go eat 3 slices of pizza, go home, do my homework, and then I'd have hockey practice for 2 hours a night.
But you were training. You're training.
Right, I was training, but oh my God, I was probably getting 800, 900 calories a day, and I was getting headaches, and all this stuff was going on. I'm not screwed up. Like I made a good change. I didn't have any direction growing up with healthy eating. I figured it out. A lot of times these parents will sit there and try and force food in a specific direction, and then the kids develop these eating disorders. People ask me, how do you let your kids eat? I'm like, I introduce good quality foods to them. We still have hamburgers. We still do specific things, but my kids still eat fast food here and there. They still have ice cream. I'm not like here, because I'm so nervous about having them develop eating habits. I try and allow them to see what I do. I try and have them follow my footsteps and learn from the things that I do. But listen, tonight after skating, they want to go for ice cream. I'm taking them for ice cream, and they're going to turn out just fine. Trust me, you know?
Do you think that exercise is the mitigating factor then? So if, like, a lot of the pro athletes that I see, they, like, again, fried chicken, but they eat horrible, right? But their body composition is amazing because of the outputs they have in their exercise. Of course, when they retire, boom, like things go bad.
See, every one of them gained excessive body fat. Every single one of them, they end up on body weight when they were like this when they were playing. So
exercise.
Yeah.
And hormonal status. They're also aging. You gotta keep your hormones good.
No, you gotta keep. No, I totally get it. But I think if someone's used to who's the NBA player who was showing his eating regimen, it was all candy. Like all he eats every day is candy. He was in LA Lakers a few years ago. His entire diet literally was like Sour Patch Kids and gummy bears. It was the worst diet I've ever seen in my life. It was Lamar Odom. It might have been Lamar Odom.
Okay.
And he, the guy's lean. And, okay, he's on the court, for 3 hours a day. Like he's gonna have problems when he's older. Like people think they can get away with this at a young age. Fortunately, I did not continue on those eating habits. Fortunately, my kids, they exercise, they move, and then they'll turn around and say, "Oh my God, can we get a protein shake?" And I'll make them a healthy protein shake. Or like, I'm like, "You want ice cream now? I promise you ice cream." They're like, "No, we want to have fruit." And I'll give them fruit. And then 2 hours later, they're like, "I want to have ice cream." And I laugh and I go get them an ice cream because I'm just like, you know what? Like, I don't want to turn this into something so negative for them. Like they see me doing it. When I run outside, I say, I'm sorry. They say, "Can I come with you?" And I always say no. Honestly, I will always turn. Yeah, I will always turn to my kids when I'm going out to do something on my jungle gym, and I'll say no. I'll make them actually like almost beg for it a little bit, and I'll be no.
Yeah, there's so much psychology.
No, seriously. So every day I would go out in the jungle gym. Last year, my son would come, like, can I come work out? And I'd be like, "Donnie, no, this is like adult stuff, and I'm getting my workout in, and honestly, this is kind of daddy time." And he'd turn around and be like, "Dad, I can do it, and I'll keep up." And I'm like, "Listen, you can keep up all you want, but when you want to be done, just walk back to the house. It's totally fine. I don't want to pressure you, blah, blah, blah." And then he'll turn around. Most of the time, he'll follow me for 40 minutes. And I'll turn around, be sweating, his arms will be burning, he'll be laughing. And, it's to me, that's kind of how I'm never like, "Do you want to go work out outside?" Just do. Don't tell your kids, "Oh, you're going to be eating peas and carrots and grass-fed beef tonight." Just, try and find some type of healthy sauce and make it enjoyable for them, and just let them see you doing it, and then things take off. What did you just send me? Lamar tells Kevin Hart that he had
12 strokes
and 6 heart attacks while
Sorry, I had to send that.
Where did this shit from? So what's your due date?
August 20th.
Okay. Well, I'm very excited. I think this is the best thing that's ever happened.
Are you going to live stream the delivery, or what's going to happen here around the social media?
No.
Can I be there at least? I'm not talking to Shane. Are you crazy? He'll shoot me in there.
He'll have red dot.
I love it. So listen, thank you for the input. And you know what? I'm always curious to hear, because after this whole process, like you're only 3 months in, you're going to learn a lot in the next several months. But you're going to learn things that most women aren't going to be able to translate in a way and a fashion that you are. And I already know that you've read more books and more manuals than probably anyone about this. But I'm definitely curious to hear what you've developed from month 3 to month 9.
Yeah.
Dr. G, if someone wants to ask you a question or they want to find you because you are one of the most interesting women ever, where can they find you? Use the social handles, all that stuff.
Dr. Gabrielle Lyon on my Instagram. I'm really active there. My website, drgabriellelyon.com, and my Facebook is Dr. spelled out, Gabrielle Lyon. And there's links on my website to all of these things.
Derek, any other questions?
Are you going to be kind of presenting sort of where you're at during your pregnancy? Are you going to document it a bit to give us some?
I have, but actually
Okay.
I've been documenting it.
Where?
I'm just collecting it.
Okay.
Photos, writing,
Yep.
Supplements, trainings.
Why don't you do some social media videos and start posting it on weekly, like almost like a weekly update?
Well,
You should start doing that. Because I'd be interested. I would go to your Facebook page,
Likewise.
or your Instagram.
what would
TV.
you be interested in knowing about?
Your workouts.
Yes. Nutrition.
Yep.
I think most women would want to hear, first off, your story, but I think they'd also want to hear how you crap out at times now and how you go and eat pretzels. Because that's something.
I was so sick.
Yeah, but you know what? You
crazy.
got to tell this. It's okay to do. And the thing that frustrates me is when a pregnant woman contacts me and she's depressed about the fact that she went and ate a junior Whopper. I'm like, relax, you're going to be okay.
Yeah, honestly, the mental health state and all that is interesting too. Like how are you coping, and being transparent about that would be really interesting.
So I recommend you either do an Instagram, either do a weekly Instagram TV, or throw the video up on your Instagram TV and leave it up on your Facebook, and then do a post directing people to those areas for them to watch. And just, I think, a real clean. The Instagram TV, you can do like a 2 to 3 minute rant, maybe do some bullet points. Like, listen, these were the emotions I went through. Tuesday night, I was crying because of this. Hormonally, I was a mess. I got into a fight with my fiance. You know, I had a good day of eating. I had a bad day of eating. My training, I was supposed to train 4 days. I only trained 2 days. These are important things. I'm trying to relax people about this. It's okay.
Yep. Very helpful.
I've known that prior.
I like it.
That'd be awesome.
I like it. Well, everyone, it's such an honor to have you. I love you doing this. And
I feel like I'm there with you guys.
Derek, I feel like you are. The player I actually like. I'm starting to like it.
Okay, it's growing on you.
Derek, can we take it? Listen, by the way, I got to close out with this. Your Chiefs last week, that was tough. It was an unbelievable game. It was tough. I'm going to say this. I think they were robbed of that offsides. I think that was pretty terrible, and that's probably why they lost that game.
Yeah, well, the funny thing was somebody sent me a picture of that same guy, and he's in the Pro Bowl, and he lined up offside. Like, they took a picture of it, so I'm like,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, you know
gotta
what?
clean that up.
They got to clean that up. Who do you think's taking it?
I'm gonna have to go with the Patriots, honestly. Like, you can't bet against them.
It's pretty tough too. All right, well, listen. Till next week on D&D Fitness Radio, Derek Hansen from Vancouver, Don Saladino from Soho, New York, Dr. Gabrielle Lyon sitting right next to me with this beautiful tattoo. Gorgeous looking. Another beautiful day on D&D Fitness Radio. Derek, I love you. Till next time, guys.
Take care.
Derek, you're the best.
You too. Back at you.
See you next week. Send my best to the fam.
Likewise. Take care, guys.